to drive to work, drive to work.
Welcome to Yellow Brick Road. I'm Jordan. This is James, and we're going to go right into it. A tanker was hit in the Middle East, and the U.S. is blaming Iran for it. Now, a little bit of context here. Iran was meeting with the Prime Minister of Japan to talk about. Japan was basically representing the U.S. as like a negotiating type thing. You know, how can we create peace here? Right? The U.S. backed out of the Iranian nuclear deal. No one knows why. Well, people know why. So they can create tensions and hopefully create a war for themselves. But, you know, on the surface, it's supposed to be about, you know, denuclearizing what some people consider a hostile nation in a hostile region. And Japan was there to, you know, try to keep that going. How can we get you back on the negotiating table? And basically Iran's refusing that. They're like, fuck that. So while this negotiating is happening, two oil tankers, well, I don't want to say what, they contained petroleum products. One was a Norwegian ship and one was a Japan ship, which is fucking interesting. I'm meeting with Japan for peace talks, and one of the ships that are hit is a Japanese ship. Little interesting. Now, when I went on Twitter, everyone is saying, false flag, this is bullshit. Are there weapons of mass destruction there? Like, no one's buying this bullshit, and neither are we.
Saw yellow cake on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yellow cake? Uranium? Yeah.
And I did all this to say, I told you all this, and I'm showing you this to say, look at your boy Trump. All you Trump fanboys, he said military-industrial complex. Even if he doesn't shoot one fucking rocket at Iran, he's creating, the words and the environment he's creating will allow whoever to start a war with Iran.
It doesn't have to be with missiles or guns or whatever.
The economic warfare has already started, already underway.
Just as bad.
So
I don't.
So even if Iran did this, which I don't think they did, it sounds absolutely like bullshit. But if they did, I don't know, the tremendous amount of sanctions on them from the United States, not allowing them to get products or oil or sell their oil, basically barring people from buying their oil.
Heavy influence.
Yeah. So, and here's the funny thing about this. All the evidence, as far as just on the surface evidence, without any innuendo or anything, any intuition, you could see how it would be Iran that shot the, whatever it was, torpedo or whatever. Because the oil prices would go up as a result of these tankers going down.
Mm-hmm.
But with all that on the surface evidence, it still makes absolutely no sense for them to do this, right? If they get to the negotiating table, the sanctions would most likely be lifted, as if in a perfect scenario. So squandering peace talks with Japan, who I believe is the first time they're there in like decades, since the 70s or something.
Mm-hmm.
First time they're there, you hit one of their ships while their prime minister is in your country.
Seems pretty stupid.
That sounds like absolute bullshit.
Almost as if, no, it's like, in a way, it's like, as far as like me saying it's stupid, it's like just as believable as, well, Assad's winning the war, so why would he gas his own people? Why would he use chemical weapons on his own people?
That's probably the first incident that these fucking Trump fanboys have ignored. I don't know why. I mean, do you think like it's some sort of trick to defeat the globalists somehow? You know, Alex Jones style?
We'll see what that'll be funny.
So if you didn't buy the first two fake gas attacks, are you going to buy this one? Are you going to buy this story right here? This is from your boy Trump. It is the assessment of the United States government that Iran is responsible for today's attacks in the Gulf of Oman. He's quoting Pompeo.
That's Trump's Twitter.
Yeah, that's Trump's Twitter. Look at that, blue check mark and all.
It's not a fake account, right?
No, that's really him.
Oh.
Look at that. Oh, and there's Mike Pompeo. Trump has a video for us.
Oh.
If you're still on the Trump train after hearing this, after all the things that have happened, after the Trump versus Hillary 2016 election, where you're like, Hillary's corrupt and she'll do this, she'll get us to war somehow, and blah, blah, blah. And the government lies, and Trump's there to clean up those lies. And Trump said military-industrial complex. What reason would he have to do this, to be a part of this? There is no diplomatic reason to be a part of this.
There's no way to.
If he's against the grain, against the system, against the swamp.
There's no way to defend this now.
There was no way to defend the Syrian attacks. There's no way to defend that. They didn't have evidence, and then years or so later, we find out like, oh, they probably didn't do this. The Syrian government didn't gas their own people here, at least in this instant, the one they bombed them for. So they didn't have evidence. Period.
So it's very interesting how it just keeps piling up, whether it's filling his cabinet with people who have been linked to corruption.
Yeah, all the Trump fanboys, like super dedicated fanboys, you may now leave. You may leave because I know you're going to jump to something else. Well, immigration. Look at the economy. I know you're going to jump to something else.
Like, are you serious?
Yeah.
It keeps piling up.
Go move the goalposts.
Like I said, the cabinet, Venezuela, Syria, now this.
Yeah.
So,
oh, even more than that. Yemen.
Forgot about Yemen.
Sudan.
Yeah, Sudan.
Yeah, go lie to yourselves. You may now turn the video off.
I thought that him vetoing that bill, I thought that would be it, but no. They managed to do some sort of mental gymnastics to fucking get away from that.
Wait till I do a video on what I've been reading about Sudan. Then defend him. But yeah, you may go now. Bye. All right, so this is Mike Pompeo claiming Iran is responsible for all this.
It is the assessment of the United States government that the Islamic Republic of Iran is responsible for the attacks that occurred in the Gulf of Oman today. This assessment is based on intelligence, the weapons used, the level of expertise needed to execute the operation, recent similar Iranian attacks on shipping, and the fact that no proxy group operating in the area has the resources and proficiency to act with such a high degree of sophistication. This is only the latest in a
Sounds like the Syrian gas attack, right? It's like, well, they had weapons before. How are these rebels gonna, how do they have access to chemical weapons? Well, Libya, but, they won't tell you that. Vague word like intelligence says this, and then like, where's the intelligence? Oh, that's top secret.
Yeah.
We've seen this story before, guys.
series of attacks instigated by the Islamic Republic of Iran and its surrogates against American and allied interests. And they should be understood in the context of 40 years of unprovoked.
Remember how to use the word interest. Interest does not have to mean they're killing innocent people.
No.
It doesn't have to mean that. It just means simply economic interest. As in, if Iran's successful, we lose a little bit. So it's against American interests for Iran to be successful.
It's interesting as far as his choice of words because people will remember that. What did you say, interest?
Yeah.
I've been saying this for years now. Back to the 80s. U.S. interest. It's like, that doesn't sound like a corporatocracy like thing to say. Interest. What?
You'll hear your favorite commenter Ben Shapiro say words like that when talking about Iran months ago. It's against the interest of the United States.
Yeah.
It's against the interest of blah 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 of the United States. Once again, they're not talking about mass killings or anything like that, to where it's like, fuck, we got to help those people out there. No. If they start saying that, then people are like, what about Yemen? What about Sudan? What about these places? So they stick it to the word interest.
aggression against freedom-loving nations. On April 22nd, Iran promised the world that it would interrupt the flow of oil through the Strait of Hormuz. It is now working to execute on that promise. In early May,
I wonder what was specifically said by Iran. We promised to interrupt the flow of oil. What did they say specifically?
What if they have oil that they're like, well, we won't sell to you assholes, or we won't do this with our oil, which could fuck with the oil industry,
sure.
oil prices, and all that.
Especially when you keep looking and looking for as far as well, what might have provoked the U.S. or other foreign countries that have interest.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting when you hear the ultimatum that's brought up to some of these countries allegedly.
Yeah.
You can sell to us, or we'll put sanctions on you.
Also, why fuck with the country that's coming to visit us? Like, literally today, they're visiting us.
Yeah.
And we're bombing them right after that.
It might be if I were to use legalese, maybe the U.S., being assertive regarding their interests. You see how creepy that is?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I think Iran said we're not responsible for this.
Oh.
Just to put that out there. Here we go.
the Revolutionary Guard Corps attempted the covert deployment of modified dhows capable of launching missiles.
Capable.
On May 12th, Iran attacked 4 commercial ships near the Strait of Hormuz. On May 14th, Iran-backed surrogates attacked by armed drones struck 2 strategically important oil pipelines in Saudi Arabia. On May 19th, a
As they were
rocket landed
attacked by
near the U.S.
drones.
Embassy in Baghdad. On May 31st, a car bomb in Afghanistan wounded 4 U.S. service members, killed 4 Afghan civilians, and wounded bystanders. Yesterday, Iranian surrogates fired a missile into Saudi Arabia, striking the arrivals terminal of an international airport, injuring 26 people.
Okay.
They did.
So you're selling war. Yeah, first of all, your evidence for this. Second of all, are they in the midst of a war to where you're reporting? You don't report the initial thing that started it, right? I'm not calling Iran angels. So if they
No.
get attacked and they attack back, and you're only reporting on their retaliation, it's like, are you reporting this in the right, lens?
I can use dumb guy logic once again. I mean, you could simply look at the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. When you have Israel, you can make plenty of arguments for as far as like I don't want to say like ethnic cleansing, but it might as well as far as bulldozing people's homes. So you have as far as a society, a group of people like on the ground. There's a conflict there, and then there's the whole military thing as far as retaliation. So think of it like antagonize, retaliation. Look, they bombed us. They shot him. They shot first. See, then you fucking go and blitzkrieg.
No, here's a specific example. I remember a weekend when they're talking about Ben Shapiro made a whole video about it, like, oh, Iran or Hamas is attacking us. They shot so many rockets into Israel, hundreds of rockets.
That's right.
Without realizing, days before, like, I think there was a balloon sent, a balloon that with like a explosive that went off in an open area. Nothing happened. Then Israel bombed the shit out of them.
That's right. Yeah.
And then Hamas shot back.
That's the thing I was thinking.
And then that's what got reported,
That was
was
the thing I was
Hamas
thinking.
shooting them.
Yeah.
And then we all know Israeli went on a bombing campaign.
The point is, like, I have an excuse now. To,
Yeah.
like, obliterate.
Yeah, and people are onto that shit. They're not going to get it. They're not going to keep getting away with this.
Well, it's becoming very blatant, and the fact, like, even like the specific, what Pompeo is saying specifically as far as U.S. interest.
Yeah.
He's being very vague on specific events. Withholding evidence if he has any, which already deems him not credible whatsoever. And if anything, this is very, very similar to events in the past. You could start comparing shit to the past.
Hopefully someone has some fucking courage. Because,
Even the speaking patterns.
yeah, hopefully someone has some courage because Like it or not, Japan, now you're a part of this. Are you going to say something?
We'll see.
Is Prime Minister Abe going to say anything?
Maybe maybe there's something going on as far as if Japan doesn't fall in line, maybe they won't be recognized as whoever's president. We don't recognize him as the president.
That's what I mean by courage.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I mean by that.
It's like we recognize Jason Williams as the president of Japan. Like he gets sworn in some room closet somewhere.
He
They have video of it, CNN Live.
He crosses over the old prime minister.
He's like this.
He's like,
He's like, Domo Arigato. Recognize Jason Williams as the president of Japan.
yeah,
Instead of who I like. You see what I'm saying? That's creepy.
yeah. All right, let's continue here. Also, Trump fans defending this will be also creepy as well. You guys better show some fucking courage. Even though I told you to leave a while ago, please leave if you're still on the Trump train. If you're playing mental gymnastics, like, oh, he's doing something right somehow.
No, I invite them to stay.
Here we go.
Taken as a whole, these unprovoked attacks present a clear threat
Unprovoked.
to international peace and security, a blatant assault on the freedom of navigation, and an unacceptable campaign of escalating tension by Iran.
Unacceptable campaign. Escalating tension. Where's your evidence?
Well, show us your receipts or whatever, your transcripts of your sanctions. Maybe that's escalating tensions as well.
Oh, sure. Yeah. You take away a country's, you could take away food, or as far as their means of making enough money, or whatever way of transactions that they do, or whatever the fuck, so that they can get food. You do that, as well as maybe possibly fund rebel groups. I'm not saying it's a hypothetical, though. It's all like literally poking a stick at him. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Well, either way, whether it's this is a false flag and someone else did it and they're blaming Iran, or Iran did this, the United States plays a large role.
Oh, sure.
The sanctions could cause someone to do that.
At the same time.
To try to strike oil tankers. Norwegian and Japanese tankers, by the way.
What today especially was going on was today, right? Yesterday, I believe, right? You said peace talks. Was it yesterday and today, or just today in general? Peace talks.
I would think it's probably yesterday.
Okay.
They're in different time zones.
I got
So.
you. Now it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. Why would you do that if you're trying to have peace talk, discuss peace?
You strike one of the ships of the guys who's visiting you for peace talks to get these sanctions lifted. Have negotiations so your country can survive.
It doesn't make sense.
It does not make any
It
fucking
makes
sense.
just as much sense as far as Assad gassing his own people when he's winning the war against the rebel groups.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. Why would he do that? No one bought it.
Yeah.
The only people who bought it are,
Dumbasses. Or shills.
Yeah.
Let's continue.
Prime Minister Abe made a historic trip to Iran to ask the regime to de-escalate and enter into talks. Iran's supreme leader rejected Prime Minister Abe's diplomacy today by saying he has no response to President Trump and will not answer.
He rejected Trump and the United States as their fucking stance. That's who Iran was rejecting. Otherwise, they would have just rejected the Prime Minister of Japan outright. Like, we reject all of you. So they weren't rejecting Japan. In fact, they've been, as far as I know, Iran's been holding to the deal that Trump did away with, the Iran nuclear deal. They've been holding to it. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, we're not going to do this. We're not going to create nuclear weapons. We're not going to create the capabilities for it. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do that. They've been holding to the treaty, even though the treaty's gone, in order to keep some sort of, power in the sense of negotiating with other countries, with countries who are not irrational like the U.S. is.
I think it's pretty blatant.
Possibly on behalf of, dare I say, Israel. As far as Trump's ties, how heavily he favors Israel.
There's interests to consider, right? As far as connections to foreign countries.
Yeah, remember the Shapiro interview? Yeah, you're not really Jewish if you voted for Obama because you negotiated with Iran, and Iran has done all this, and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Let's be real, guys. I know a lot of people are scared of that, but fucking look at it.
The Supreme Leader's government then insulted Japan by attacking a Japanese oil tanker just outside of Iranian waters, threatening the lives of the entire crew.
And let me finish that.
Just say it now. God.
It's incredible that these guys can get away with just saying these things without any credible evidence.
Well, he just, as he's talking to the guy, he explains, as he's talking to the guy, he attacks him at the same time. That makes no fucking sense.
I'm just saying. Like, you just say these things. And you know what's funny? Even if these guys decided that, you know what? They're catching on to us. Okay, we're gonna have a, what do you call it?
Negotiate.
Bullet. I remember what Netanyahu did. He had like a little like
Oh.
like a bullet point and shit.
Yeah.
But it turned out it was so horrible and so bad. Just on the screen it says Iran lied.
Yeah.
No bullet points or whatever the fuck. No presentation really. It's just they lied.
And there are enough people to buy that wholesale.
Oh sure.
There's enough of them to say we
But
can
it's
go
funny.
ahead with this.
It's funny how they can just say these things, these statements.
Yeah. Let's continue.
That's what I'm saying. Hold on. Well, my point was, I said it before, but it's just so blatant now. So to the point where if you defend Trump or his fucking or the cabinet, or whatever you want, or whatever have you, it's literally like I can go back from the '80s and play something. '80s, I believe it was late '80s, early '90s. I can play a clip. It's incredibly similar, and you guys are. Like you, this whole group, Trump fans. I thought you guys were against this. Oh,
Yeah.
it's okay when he does it. Okay. So, fuck. I mean, hey.
And you can't say, Trump's, these guys want to go to war all the time.
Let's just not remember what Kuwait, right?
Trump's Fox interview. These guys just want to go to war all the time.
What's this?
You were literally, it's Donald Trump's fucking Twitter. And he's showing Pompeo. He's quoting Pompeo, and he's showing the video. Get real, motherfuckers.
Yeah. If anything, this proves he thinks you're stupid.
Yeah.
So I mean,
he definitely thinks you're stupid.
Are you going to be a fan of someone who thinks you're stupid?
He definitely thinks you're stupid. Here we go.
He can get you to chant at will. It's creepy.
Here we go.
Creating a maritime emergency. Iran's foreign minister today responded to these attacks. He said sardonically, quote, "Suspicious doesn't begin to describe what likely transpired this morning," end of quote. Foreign Minister Zarif.
That means I'm not buying this shit.
Yeah.
It's like, are you trying to tank yourself here? Why would you quote him saying, like, this is a little suspicious?
This is why I consider these people not that intelligent. There's sneakiness, clever, maybe, but...
Well, I think
What I'm saying is this.
there's a degree of cleverness, but they have to rely on people being
Yeah.
so dumb and
Oh,
not
they have to.
either dumb or just not paying attention at
I
all.
have to. Literally, like I said, like specific things that he said within this speech. And now, like, you want to quote what that guy said? Are you sure? Because people are going to look into it right now.
Yeah.
I'm not buying it. End quote. Basically, it's like, maybe you shouldn't say that if you're trying to like fucking brainwash people.
Yeah, that's very weird.
Yeah.
May think this is funny, but no one else in the world does.
Oh, you might.
Iran is lashing out because the regime wants our successful maximum pressure campaign lifted. No economic sanctions entitle the Islamic Republic to attack innocent civilians, disrupt global oil markets, and engage in nuclear blackmail.
This is the part where he thinks you're stupid. See how he's explaining the story that I would say credible journalists are already on, like the sanctions and all that. He brings that up. He literally brings that up.
It's
like-
nuclear.
It's like, see, they know about this. They're not just completely lying to us. They know about what people are thinking about with sanctions and blah blah blah, and false flags. It's like, guys, do not buy this fucking bullshit.
Well, if you want to talk about nuclear activities, we could just talk about the Iran deal. Iran
Yeah.
nuclear deal. Oh no, Trump doesn't want that. Oh
We don't know why. He just says it's terrible.
yeah, it's like
It's about the most we get.
just like that Yemen bill, right?
It's terrible as in it allows Iran to exist. That's why it's terrible.
That Yemen bill was terrible, right?
Yeah. He didn't even explain that one. He just vetoed it and moved on.
How can you? How can you explain that? That's these guys like something's happening currently in the world and they'll just veto it quietly. People will know about it, but it won't be loud.
Oh, whatever he does is loud. Trump.
Think about it like,
It'll be loud no matter what.
it's gonna be louder if he says something about it. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
The international community condemns Iran's assault on the freedom of navigation and the targeting of
International
innocent civilians.
community.
Today, I've instructed our UN Ambassador, Jonathan Cohen, to raise Iran's attacks in the UN Security Council meeting later this afternoon. Our policy remains an economic and diplomatic effort to bring Iran back to the negotiating table at the right time, to encourage a comprehensive deal that addresses the broad range of threats. Threats today.
They were literally just at the negotiating table, and you think they just to disrespect the U.S., we'll bomb Japan. We'll bomb their property. To disrespect the U.S., and then we'll bomb the Norwegians as well. It's like, come on, no one can fucking buy this, man. No one with any sense
Maybe they believe
of logic could buy this. And watch your favorite YouTubers not even bring this story up.
No, just be quiet. I mean, unless
look to the left.
Unless you're gonna fucking tell me that Iran is run by a bunch of people who Joe Pesci played type characters in movies.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I had to send you a message. It's like, no, it don't work like that. No.
Look to the left. What's number one trending? Iran. 316,000 fucking tweets.
Yeah, and then the
Next,
second one's Gulf of Tonkin.
Gulf of Tonkin. Under that, Sarah Sanders probably explaining what the fuck's happening. Maybe, maybe not. Down there, Oman. 150,000 tweets. Like, come on, guys.
Good luck. Ignoring that.
Yeah. Here we go.
Apparent for all the world to see, to peace and security. Iran should meet diplomacy with diplomacy, not with terror, bloodshed, and extortion.
You'll do that.
The United States will defend its forces, interests, and stand with our partners and allies to safeguard global commerce and regional stability. And we call upon all nations threatened by Iran's provocative acts to join us in that endeavor. Thank you.
Whatever.
Wow.
I mean, just someone with a basic investigative history as far as articles and journalism and all that, or just news events, will be like, but wait, Saudi does all the things we blame Iran for. Saudi Arabia does the same shit, except worse. Way worse.
I was surprised how many people are saying, when are we gonna invade Saudi Arabia? No?
They do way worse shit.
We'll sell them more weapons?
Yeah, they do way worse shit. Way worse.
Logic of foreign intervention is necessary. We have to go in and stop these people. What about Saudi Arabia? No? My bad.
If you look at someone who manipulates oil prices, he just talked about commerce. Talk about someone funding terrorism. He just talked about Iran, or people talk about Iran funding terrorist groups. They bring up Hezbollah and shit, who's fighting like ISIS in Syria, instead of Saudi Arabia funding Wahhabi Islam all around the world and shit. The 9/11 attackers were all Saudi, some Pakistani, I believe. Fuck. It's like, it's so on the surface hypocritical. We fund this one country that does all this shit, and we sanction this one country that we accuse doing all this shit, but never really come up with proof for.
It all relies...
And play semantics with words.
Oh, sure. And he's vague.
Yeah.
Vague statements consistently, so it all depends on the people being dumb. It's literally it.
Yes.
This is the only way this works.
They're
It's the
living
only way
on-
this works.
They're vampires living off of your blood,
It's
basically.
literally like I'm telling you, don't go upstairs, 'cause that's where all the dead bodies are. Why not? Why not? Why not, Bobby? Because there's ghosts up there. They'll get you. I guess I can't go upstairs.
Yeah.
Yes.
This dude's lying to you. Trump's lying to you. Fuck, you won't even know if we're lying to you. Go fucking investigate this shit.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Go look into it. Then come back and call us liars or say we're on to something. Whatever.
All I did was literally go back, investigate, and compare this to, okay, did Clinton do the same thing? Yep. Did Bush do the same thing? Yeah. Did Obama? Yeah. Okay, who else? What about Nixon? Sure. Johnson? Yep. Keep going. Reagan?
Yeah.
Literally, it's like, you left this? No. Now what?
Yeah, it's not going to work.
What was it? No government. What's it called? You anarchist? No, I'm not. No. Now what? What do you got?
Yeah.
The GOP. Stop it. You serious? But jobs. Guys, are you serious right now? Kidding me? This is literally why you get called not supporters, you get called fans. You get called fans. Okay?
Fanboys and girls.
If you're a fan of an idea, like if there's an idea out there and you're a fan of it or a person, you know, I'm very specific when I say fan, you know. There's no room for fans in the realm of ideas, you know. So that's an insult. It's being clear. Oh, you're a fan of this. You serious? You kidding me?
Well, I'd say these type of ideas. Let's be real. These type of ideas where lives are on the line. You can't be fans.
Well,
You can't be fans of these people.
yeah.
You should be critics of them. Critics, you can be a critic. Being a critic doesn't mean you have to say fail all of it. Like, oh, that's shitty, that's shitty. Be like a film critic, right? They give scores based on being critical of the film. Oh, this was a great film. It's 4.5 out of 5. Or this sucks. It's 1 out of 5. That's what critics do. They give honest assessments of what they see, not just A+ no matter what. It's my team.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's fanboying
Look, this is what I mean.
in any
Yeah.
area.
A sports team, if you're a fan of that team, you don't give a fuck if they're like 1 in 200 wins losses, you know? That's your team.
Yeah.
And replace that with an idea. That's what I'm talking about. That's
With
literally
these
what I'm
type
talking
of
about.
with these type of ideas, I'd say there's room for, like, you know, what should be the team's color? That's a fucking idea. I'm a fan of these
The
colors.
only I could go in depth on this, but the only space for like being like fandom is literally like sports or something of interest. Not people are gonna live or die.
Yeah,
That's what
these
I'm-
type
that's
of
what I'm talking
ideas
about.
do not. There should not be fans. Period. Okay, that's it from us. Please subscribe if you like. Comment, agree, disagree. Tell us we're lying. Tell us we're honest or on the, on the right track. Whatever. Send us content that'll either help us out or prove us wrong or whatever the fuck you want to do.
You could even call in if you want.
You can even call in. Look at that.
That means we can set up a date whenever. You just have to message us. You can do a show with us whenever, whoever. It doesn't matter.
Yes.
So,
Please donate to Devon's Journey to Recovery. It's a charity GoFundMe for one of our subscribers and his wife. Help them pay medical bills. People suffer things all the time, and it's be nice to help them out. And if you're a capitalist, like, oh, blah, 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 well, you can help someone out using capitalism. There you go. Or if you're for Medicare for all, it's like, why wait for that? Help someone out now. So click the link. The GoFundMe link is down there for Devon's Journey to Recovery. Click the link, read the story. Please donate. With all that said, give this video a thumbs down.
Say you wanna get in.